Uh-oh, you hear the sirens. You know what time it is, man. We here on the commute. Live on the commute. Yes, sir. You got your boys Millz hosting today, man. You know how it is, repping the 7-5. I'm out here in bad news. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To my right, the one and only, you know what I mean, the creator of the Nitty Gritty podcast himself. You know what I mean? One of the co-hosts, one of the big movers and shakers out in the Norfolk area. Sir. My boy Jamari Haugy.
What's going on, everybody, man?
Sir Haugy what?
Come on, man.
Sir Haugy what?
My name is Jamari, a.k.a. Sir Haugy Huxtable.
Oh, it's every
Keeping
time.
the world from bad news, man. We on the news right now. You know, we doing it good, doing it big. It's good to be here this evening.
Bro, it hits every time,
Yes,
my
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. And to my left, you know, none other than the one and only. You know what I'm saying? The man, the myth, the legend, Midnight Geist, moving and shaking out in the city of Chesapeake. Yeah. You know what it is.
Shouts out to Midnight Media. Shouts out to all the Midnight Squad. You know what I mean?
Talk to 'em.
Midnight in this bitch. That's how we do, boy. We out here living.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Don Dada.
Yes, sir. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. We all have our own things going on, but the three of us, we make up the SnaggleTooth, and this is our podcast, The Commute.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today on The Commute, like I said, we're going to do things a little bit differently, you know what I mean, as far as the format. I am your host today, Millz, and we're going to, today's topic, we're going to be talking about being a boss.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That is going to be the topic today.
Rick
I mean, like
Ross
I said, and that's why I gave the introductions the way I did. You know what I mean? We got Nate, you know what I mean, really big in his city. Jamari, really big in his city. You know what I mean? I'm doing things, trying to make moves in my city. And so, you know, we just want to talk about boss moves. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you know what I mean, from one of our previous episodes, I'm a real stats and facts type of guy.
Bring out the, show us the numbers.
So
give us the numbers.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna start off, I'm gonna start off with the definition straight off of
Webster.
Yeah, Webster. You know what I'm saying? As far as
dictionary,
a definition for bosses. So there are a couple of them. I'm gonna give you two. And so the first definition here: a person who is in charge of a worker, group, or an organization. And so that's your first definition there of a boss.
Straightforward.
Second definition: someone that gives someone else orders in a domineering manner.
Okay.
All right.
Dominant. The ladies
so-
love a dominant man.
And so with that being said, you know, I'm gonna start here on my right with Jamari. You know, you've heard the Webster definition. To you, what's your definition of a boss?
So to me, I think a boss is somebody who does their shit. I mean, I'm gonna just keep it real. Who does their shit? I'm gonna keep it real candid with everybody, right? So a boss is somebody who has accountability, who knows accountability, who has all their ducks aligned in order, who may not know everything. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want everybody to assume that they're perfect, that they know everything, but they know how to find a resolution, good or bad. They know how to find a resolution. So I think a boss is somebody who is on their shit. So.
Okay.
Okay. And we're gonna swing it. Yeah, we're gonna swing it over to Nate. I like that. Yeah. Cool applause for that. We're gonna swing the same question over to Nate, man. What in your definition, your words? What is a boss?
Well, I gotta get some specifics, man, because I think there's like people think of bosses and leaders, and I think those are like two completely different things.
Okay.
So I think of like a boss is somebody who like can run the ship. People don't gotta like them. It's just straight business. My thing is to get this job done, tell people what they need to do, when they need to be there. That's a boss. It's purely management. But a leader to me is somebody who does it effectively to the point that their people love them and they look out for them first. A boss looks out for the business first. That's how I feel about it.
Definitely a cool applause on that one. Definitely a cool applause on that. And that's a fact.
That was bad. That's a Webster dictionary definition.
I mean, but that's actually perfect because it leads me into, I mean, yeah, you have a boss. You have your leaders.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But just because you're my boss or just because you are a leader doesn't mean you're a good one.
Nah.
So, I mean, yeah, you given the plain definitions for good and, you know what I mean, or for just a boss or for a leader. But what makes a good boss? What makes a good boss? Or what makes a bad one at that? You know what I'm saying? What makes a bad boss or a bad leader?
Bro,
You know what I mean? In your opinion,
a good one is someone who cares about the people who work up under them before they care about themselves, in my opinion. Like, you got to make sure the company and everything that you're leading is growth and scaling for the future, because you're looking at the future beyond yourself. But you care about those up under you more than you care about your own well-being. You're trying to set everything up for past, future generations, everything going towards the future. This is no longer about you. This is about the movement that you build and create. And that's what makes somebody who's good at their job, good at being a boss. They can like separate themselves from it and say, it's not about me and my winnings. It's about everybody else and how I can get them to the next level.
Yeah.
okay,
That was good.
What about you?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of traits and characteristics of a good leader and a good boss. There's also traits and characteristics of a bad leader or a bad boss. I think one big thing, the biggest thing I think that a leader or a boss should have is empathy. Empathy is very important. It's something that a lot of people don't demonstrate, either because they don't know to, or they don't know how to, or they don't want to. Right? Empathy is being able to put yourself in somebody else's situation, regardless of what the situation is, and saying, hey, I understand. I recognize what you're going through right now. And, that's kind of the gist of it, right? So I think empathy is something that a good boss should have. An issue with that is that, like I said earlier, a lot of people don't know how to demonstrate that because they weren't taught or because they don't want to. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things I think is what makes a boss or a good leader.
Somebody who can empathize, huh?
Yeah.
Empathize, not sympathize.
Yeah.
Empathize specifically.
Exactly.
They can feel it. They've done it.
They feel it. Not even they've done it, but it's definitely good to have a
empathy.
leader with a boss.
Get my things twisted. It's an empathy where you know the feeling, not
you
could feel for somebody, but like
you understand.
You've experienced enough to understand.
You resonate to a certain extent, whether you've gone through it or not, but you resonate with.
I was not an English major, so I'm just making sure.
And me, I wasn't an English major, but I'm a definition scientist. Bring it out, baby. Bring it out.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I'm pretty sure.
They went through it.
You got sympathy and then you got empathy, right? Yeah. Sympathy is the
so empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another.
Exactly. You've done it. Yeah.
And so on the other hand of that,
I think sympathy, you just could like feel for them. I think that's more so what it is. Like, I ain't lost my father, but I can feel for
understand.
you.
Yeah, so on the other hand of that, sympathy are the feelings of pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune.
Yeah.
Okay.
An understanding between people, like a common feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so
we often misconstrue those a lot.
A lot of people do.
Very synonymous.
A lot of people do. And so you're saying empathy,
I mean, you have to have experience.
is more so one of the characteristics of a leader or a good boss.
Yeah.
Versus sympathy.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think both are important, but I think the big thing I think I look for in a leader is empathy. I think that's something that really stands out in a person. Because I said, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people know how to give directives. A lot of people know how to show up, be loud, be correct, and know their shit. A lot of people don't know how to understand other people. And I blame social media. I blame the internet because we don't have those interactions, those person-to-person interactions. I know a lot of podcasts where the interviewees aren't even in the same room. You're not able to see their body languages. You're not able to see what they're going through. You're not able to resonate with them.
I want you to talk to me.
Yeah, don't talk to the computer, which is coming to me. I want you to actually talk to me, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand it because, they just don't have that experience. So I think empathy is truly a foundation of a good leader, of a great leader.
And I can agree with that, but I can also say hand in hand sympathy as well. So I can talk in my personal experience. There was a few years ago actually on Thanksgiving where there was a driver that hit me, in a vehicle, a little collision. Thanksgiving Day. At the time, I was working retail, and so Black Friday is the next day. So it's a big day, so we got to be at work or whatever. And so me being the type of guy I am, which, I'm trying to change, that's a different story. But me being the guy I am, I still went to work that next day. You know what I mean? Literally the night before being in a pretty bad car accident, went to work the next day. You know what I mean? And being there, there were some of my, like it says Black Friday. And so there we have, some big bosses. We got a couple regular, other managers in and out, stuff like that. So, I'm seeing a few people above me, and I was a supervisor at the time, So, I had a little bit of say-so, But, and I didn't necessarily have to be there.
That's boss shit.
But,
Bingo.
But being there, you know, you could definitely see some of the good characteristics and some of the bad characteristics in myself and in the other managers and GMs and the boss that, you know, my boss, things like that. You know, some of them were really empathetic. Some of them were really sympathetic. As far as, oh my God, I can't, what are you doing here?
Right.
You went through that. You're limping around, like, go home. You know, what do you know what I mean? Right. And I think that made them, I appreciated them for that. Yep. Although I wanted the money, I wanted to help out the team. I wanted to be there to help out the people. It was a busy day. You know what I mean? That sentiment, just them, you know, I was able to feel that. You know what I'm saying? Their true empathy, the sympathy they had for me. So that just made me appreciate them. You know what I mean? As my higher ups, like, you know what? They kind of do care about me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's true or not, in that very moment, at least they had some type of human characteristic. Yeah. To where it was like, okay.
You know what I mean? Caring is number one.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, I
don't know if I'll use sympathy or empathy, but caring is like.
But that made me want to stay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that they cared about me, it made me want to stay. Like, okay, y'all care about me, I care about y'all.
See you win. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so me wanting to stay.
Put the barrier on your back.
You know what I mean? That just it was an everlasting circle because they were like, okay, well, if you're gonna stay, you're not going to be on your feet all day. Yeah. Well, let's get this guy a bench. You're never allowed to sit up front at the registers and stuff like that. You're never allowed to sit. Like, yo, let's get this guy a seat. Like when customers, you know what I mean? Like it was a whole, you know what I mean? So like so I can definitely agree on that point that you've made. You know what I'm saying? Empathy, sympathy, great characteristics of a good leader, good boss. I mean, what would you say? What are your characteristics?
Well, one, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, bro. I saw a security guard the other day who had his leg up on the little like wheelchair thing, and I was like, "What is he defending?" That was
I ain't gonna lie. I was with him, and that was why. I'm not gonna lie. It was one of the little scooter type things, and your leg get broken, you put it up there, and you got the other foot on the ground.
They care about me. They really care about me. Bro, you're not defending nothing here, bro.
I ain't gonna lie. He wasn't defending nothing. But shout out to him for being dedicated. He needed that paycheck for the holidays.
But to what? Yeah, man. But I guess what I'll say is, like, yeah, I agree. Caring is like number one. You got to care about your people and everything like that, man. Like, you just absolutely have to care about them. And when you show that you care about them that much, that's when you start to see people like live, eat, sleep, breathe, and want to work towards the craft. When they really, really mess with you, when they really, really love what they do. Because they could love you, but if they don't love what you do, then that's a whole other thing. Yeah. What was the I know that we were also talking about, like, I mean, just not what makes a boss, but like, should everyone be a boss too? That was something else we were talking about, discussing before.
Well, the thing about that is, man, you know, that's a great segue.
It was so great. He ain't have an answer for it.
No, really, I was getting ready to add on to your point. What you just said,
Go ahead.
That
definitely. Add on to it.
Now we can definitely segue into that. Into that. Yeah, we can come back around. Should everybody be a boss? And with that, why or why not should they? You know what I mean? Yeah. Should they? Or should they not?
The first 48 music to be playing right now. Should they be?
So for me, in my experience, like I said, to go back to that example I was using, that Black Friday, not everybody was as open and welcoming and understanding as some of those people. Yeah. Why you sitting down? Why you da-da-da?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You look mighty comfortable.
Hold on. Why your section not clean?
Why you got your leg on that brace?
Hold on. First of all, I can barely walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so for those people, I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? F you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm giving them the finger. Like, I'm ready to go home. Send me home. Like, I don't want to help those type of people. And and there are other characteristics to go along with that. You know what I mean? Some people are a little bit too bossy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people are a little bit too demanding. You know what I mean? Some people aren't understanding or sympathetic or empathetic enough. Some people just aren't understanding. And the thing is, there's a piece that comes with training, like managerial training, boss training, and then there's like a natural aspect that you alluded to earlier that I wanted to get into about being a leader. You have natural leadership qualities, and then you have training You know what I mean? To make you a good manager or boss.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so with that, like, yes, you have your good bosses. You know what I mean? That was trained up. They passed all the exams going through training. And so on paper, they're great.
But in reality,
if you go through and survey these workers, if you ask the employees, if you ask the customers, how do you like the manager? How do you like this boss? How do you like
they be trash.
They got all failing scores.
Surveys are terrible. Yep.
You know what I mean? So the
might
answer,
have ordered the inventory and got everything shipped here to the store. You might have made sure everybody showed up on their shift, but nobody likes you.
Nobody liked it. Everybody hated it. They clock in and they clock out. They hated here. You know what I mean? I wish we had the sound bite. I wanna go home. Hey, look, I ain't a singer. I ain't. But what is it? I wanna go. I ain't want to do it, but
you hit that note. You hit that note. You hit that note. That was spot on. That was spot on.
That was perfect, bro.
So man, look, like that's if your employees are feeling like that, you might not be the best boss.
Nope.
You know what I mean? You might not be the best manager, and so that's the thing. You might have passed the classes. You might be, in theory, on paper, a good manager, but does everybody deserve to be the boss? No, because I think you need a good combination of what you were talking about, the natural leadership qualities, and you need a good balance of knowing the system, knowing what makes a good boss. You know what I mean? You're right.
Certain people are not. I just seen the people who thought, like you said, the loudest people. But when it comes to pressure on their back and money coming into play and partners knocking on the door saying the quality ain't where it needs to be, certain things like that, they crumble, bro.
Shut down.
You see people, I just seen the managers crying inside the back room where everybody else is like, yo, what are we supposed to be doing? We just working, we just building. And you see certain people who step up in that spot and they really lead the room.
They fill in the gaps.
Yeah, that's the leader.
So in your personal experience, can y'all give me an example of somebody that has one and not the other?
Yeah.
And that makes them overall not the best candidate for being a boss.
I worked 50 billion jobs growing up, man. I worked at Chanello's Pizza. Bro, the inventory was always ordered. People always showed up to their shift. We were never understaffed. You know, when it came to answering the phones, we knew the scripts, we was on it. But the person who was the boss was always high in the back room falling asleep. Not the best boss.
You got it done during sober hours.
But certain things got done.
Yeah. During the sober hours.
But during the shift, they were useless.
Yeah, you ain't calling me. Okay.
Useless during the shift. I loved him. Shouts out to him. I forget his name. It was this white boy out in the peak. But,
so he was a good person, but not a good leader.
He was a terrible.
No. He had the training. The managerial experience.
Yeah. Well,
he knew how to do the orders. He knew how to schedule the shifts. You know what I mean? But when it came to on-site being there, if they had customer complaints,
it was us to
don't call him. He's in the back high.
He could not.
You know what I'm saying? You better off one of the delivery drivers handling it. You know what I mean? And that's what he's saying.
And that's what I was
doing.
So
overall, you're not the best candidate to be the overall top guy, the boss.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's the thing. I mean, you have any experience where you have one, not the other, and it's just it doesn't equate to the best overall?
Nah, I haven't worked 50 million jobs like Nate, but in a couple of jobs that I have worked, I've had supervisors and managers that were really cool.
Yep.
Really ride with, but they weren't doing their job.
Yep.
So things are backlogged, PTO requests aren't being submitted, whatever the case may be. And and all this person's doing is talking about what club they're going to this weekend, or what's the moves, and blah, 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 flirt with some of their employees, stuff like that. So exactly. So while they were a good person, I was able to resonate with them. They were cool, easy to talk to. Them being a leader really wasn't for them because they weren't doing those leadership kind of managerial, those check marks, making sure your employees are good or making sure the inventory is right or the case may be. So a little bit on the flip side, but you definitely need both. You need somebody who's book smart and street smart in a sense, right? When it comes to being a leader, book smart meaning, when things need to be sent out, timelines and deadlines, spreadsheets and that stuff, ledgers, and also street smarts being, okay, this person came in a different mood than they did before.
Yeah.
How should I move? Should I treat them how they normally do? Hey, get to work or whatever the case may be. Or should I try to empathize with them? Say, hey, are you good? Come in my office. Let's rap a little bit. Let's see what's going on. And then if they're comfortable with you, then they'll open up and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And then from there, you decide what you have to do, right? You'd be like, oh, okay, all right, well, call me if you need anything. Or you could be like, okay, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
That right there will change you from a 0 on a survey to a 10 for a survey.
What's some of like the worst bosses then that you could think of? Because like me, I think of like the worst boss possible. And I kind of like cement it in my mind. But it's the boss who does everything by themselves and shares nothing.
Shares the glory or shares the work?
No, like does everything by themselves, but they like... You don't know what it is that they're doing. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing. You don't know. You're like, yo.
Clock in, clock out.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on in here. Those are some of the worst bosses to me. And I have that problem personally where I'll do everything and people won't know shit. They'll be like, Nate, this is, you signed this deal and you made this. And I'll be like, oh, yeah,
well,
my bad.
That actually is great. I'll circle back around to answer that question. But I think that's great because communication within the team and the importance of a team is kind of one of the things that makes a boss.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Gotta be high.
And so, I mean, I won't give everything that I think makes a good boss because we kind of already been over that.
Yep.
But I think that's one of the pieces that we kind of left out. Communication and also a team. Those are two big pieces that we need because what are you the boss of? Yourself? You know what I'm saying? That's cool. You know what I'm saying? You're entrepreneur, whatever. But, like, at a certain point, if you're a boss, you got people that want to be under you.
Yep.
Like, people that want to work for you. You know what I mean? People that want to learn from you and get the guidance, stuff like that. So I think that's one of the good factors of being a true leader, a true boss is being able to communicate, but also being able to have a good team around you to effectively make you what you are.
Yeah, I agree. You got the person that has the vision, and you have the people that put that vision on paper and make it happen. You need both pieces of that puzzle to make something happen.
Yeah, because we've all seen Narcos. You know what I mean? We've heard the story. You know what I mean? You need it. You know, Pablo Escobar didn't do it alone. He might have started it. He might have. You know what I mean? But
this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not be Pablo Escobar. Do not be.
The entertainment purposes only. You know what it is. Hey, my hands are up. Look,
stretching the vibe.
But you know what I'm saying? It was a team. You know what I mean? Because he could have kept doing what he was doing, and it would have been a lot of work as he got bigger and bigger. But he needed that team to take him global. You know what I mean?
I can't move all the crack by myself. I need you to take this
way
charge.
Too much weight. You know what I mean? Just like raising a kid. Just like raising a kid. A business, you know what I mean, or whatever. It takes a village. I mean, it takes a village. You know what I mean? It truly does.
And anything that
you know what I mean? And so,
so what's some of your worst bosses?
I was thinking I was going to slide back to it, but
you're trying to name drop.
I kind of don't want to name.
Just the type of boss that we're talking.
No context.
Okay. But before we get to that, all right. So we talked about somebody like Pablo Escobar. You know what I mean? I've talked about you guys. Y'all are leaders in the community as well as myself. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. What are some of the issues that we run into today? You know what I mean? As far as trying to gain that position, to reach that position, but not only that, to maintain it.
I mean, everybody wants to be a boss now.
You know,
nobody wants to be like the person who worked for somebody else. Yeah, that's a whole other thing in itself. And the only time they'll follow suit is when they see you've already made it everywhere that they want to be. They're not gonna like invest in something that hasn't already made. If you don't already have the glitz, the glamour, the glory, it's not too many people who want to follow behind you.
I agree.
And that's where things get kind of messed up and then get in conjunction because it's like you still got to be able to sell a vision, you know?
Yeah. What you think?
I think that there's definitely a paradigm shift when it comes to that. I liken it to, let's go back a few thousand years, right? Let's go back to a few thousand years, right?
Okay.
To feudalism. Right, we're all familiar with feudalism. You have the lords of the land, the ladies and the lords of the land.
There you go.
And then they charter out, or they rent out, or they give their land to the people that work the land, that till the land. And in exchange, they give them the land and a roof over their head, and all they have to do is work the land, right? So those individuals, those workers, didn't have any aspirations to become lords or ladies because they thought that was normal. You know, those lords and ladies were born into that. That was a system back then, and that was the case may be. It wasn't until capitalism came into play, right, where all you got to do is work hard, show a little effort, some sweat equity and all that stuff, and then you can reach the tops of the tops of the tops. And now you have all these gurus, these mindset gurus coming out and saying, hey, all you got to do is pay $799, come to my workshop, and you can be a boss. You could be a leader. And that's not really the case. Everybody doesn't need to be a boss. You know, there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians, right? You need people working. You don't need everybody being in.
I wasted my money on that course.
Exactly. Gosh darn it, you know. God dang it.
Andrew Tate did, man.
I thought I was gonna be an alpha male. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm $800 short. Yeah. But you know, everybody doesn't need to be the part of think tanks. We don't need all these different, you know, intricate level, you know. And I blame the gurus. I blame college as well. I ain't gonna hold you. I blame college as well.
As he wears an OG sweater.
Hey, shout out Monarch. Shout out to the Monarch. Go Big Blue. Yes, sir.
But I do blame college. I do blame higher level education because, please, I'm gonna get my words together so we can't get a good.
You kind of got to go into that.
I am. No, okay. I definitely am. When you think about it, right? People go to college because they are told that if you go to college, you can get a nice high level degree, high level paying job, and you can make X amount of money and be a boss and blah, 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 blah. But people are forgetting the trade schools, the trade jobs. Mm-hmm. I know somebody that's a plumber making 6 figures. Yeah. It don't sound sexy. Plumber does not sound sexy, right?
It's not sexy.
But you getting paid, right?
The money's sexy.
Yeah, the money's sexy. You know what I'm saying?
The job ain't sexy.
Yeah, whatever the case may be, but you're still getting paid. And that's the issue, right? I think the issue is like the glamour, the glitz and glamour of the position, right? You know, if I knew back then that I could work with my hands and do whatever the case may be and make 6 figures and not be X amount of money in debt with student loans, I would have said fuck college. You know what I'm saying? I would have done that shit, you know, and still be in a better position than I am right now. So not fuck Big Blue, but you know, fuck the idea that college is the only way to be successful in life, right? You don't have to go to get your degree. You don't have to get your MBA. You don't have to get your PhD. Be hundreds of $1,000s in debt. And
some people want to just be called a doctor, though.
I mean,
you know that, right?
Shit, call me a doctor.
Some people want to just be called a doctor.
Call me a doctor any time of the day, man. Dr. Love, that's what we talking about here, right?
Man, let me tell you, just because you don't have the experience, just because you don't have the prerequisites, doesn't make you not qualified.
Yep.
You can still be qualified without going to school, without having training or formal training. Things like that. You know, you're not disqualified from any of that. But with that being said, the best boss that I ever had.
Talk to him.
The best boss I probably had was probably, man, I can think of like 2, 3 really good guys. I can. All right, so I'll go ahead and say the worst. I want the best. Oh, I got a competition, but the worst for sure was at that same spot. Bro, just awful person. Racist. Not a good leader. Honestly, she was a whore.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It was hard to respect her.
To the streets.
Jamari's face, bro.
It was a lot of things that we didn't respect about her. And then on top of that, she was the type of person that did the most. So like there's certain rules and regulations we have at that job, and like certain things you're not supposed to do to go overboard. She did those things. So that's definitely the worst.
You think she did it because she felt entitled to, because she had that position? Like she felt, I'm a leader, I can do it? Or is it because she just didn't care and like fuck the system?
I would say it's a combination. Just to wrap it up, she's a combination of privilege and the fact that she's one of the top wigs.
Gotcha.
What would y'all say? I mean, give me one or other, or maybe the both.
Dang, I was hoping you would give us your best next.
Nah,
he went straight negative.
I was on the edge of my seat.
I'm like, damn, she was terrible.
Nah, because I mean, we're running out of time. I can keep going. We're running out of time.
We got any good stories?
We're running out of time.
Bro, for real, we are out of time.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go ahead and have them hop on Patreon for the follow-up.
Hey, for the follow-up to this, hop on our Patreon. thank you for all the follows, the support.